everyone. Whether you've seen her on The Blaze or on your Facebook feed, Tomi Lahren is one of the hottest rising stars in conservative media and social media right now. So everyone, please welcome Tomi Lahren. Tomi, welcome. You flew in from Dallas just for the occasion. So, wow, you're 24 years old. You are just a rock star in the conservative community right now. But your social media following, you have 4.3 million followers on social media. Each of your videos are viewed an average of 5 million times. Why do you think you've resonated with so many people?
I think, in large part, I represent middle America. So you've got the two coasts, and those individuals seem to kind of just talk to each other. And then you've got all of middle America right there that's dying to have a voice. They don't really feel like they have one. They're not represented, you know, beyond their communities. So I think they watch me and they say, well, you know, she speaks like I do. She thinks like I do. She seems to maybe get it like I do, and I think that's why it's resonated. And also, I do something very different. There's not a whole lot of young conservative women out there, and so I provide that for a lot of young women. They don't have that.
Yeah, you told me in the commercial break that you always knew that this is what you wanted to do, but you're just 24. Do you feel like people discredit you because you're so young?
They do, but then I remind them that I'm sitting at the table with folks that are far older than me, and I'm here at 24, so I'm doing something right. You know, something that I'm doing is working.
Now, Tomi, far older, please, let's not date us.
Not you, ladies.
Okay.
Talk about Bill Maher.
Okay, good.
Sarah, you're only 25, so I mean, come on.
It's like I just started to feel old. Let's dial that back.
Personally. Yeah. But let's talk about your voice, and let's talk about some hot topics, because that's what we do here. President Trump's travel ban 2.0, because this is the second one, was blocked earlier this week. 6 federal judges now have said that it's unconstitutional. But you support his plan. Are all those judges wrong?
I believe so. I don't believe it's unconstitutional. They're going with the Establishment Clause, but I think folks fail to also remember that the Establishment Clause in the Constitution doesn't cover non-citizens, A, and B, he is under his, and I think you could maybe attest to this as well, it is under his jurisdiction to be able to do this. He is able...
But didn't he shoot himself in the foot when he said a Muslim ban? Come on.
But this isn't a Muslim ban. This isn't a Muslim ban. Well, no, unless all the Muslims in the world have been able to pack themselves into 6 countries, this is not a Muslim ban. For a Muslim ban, India would be included. It's a high Muslim population. So, to me, this isn't a Muslim ban.
Does it bother you that he leaves out, like, Saudi Arabia, where he has a business?
No, I agree.
Egypt,
I definitely think Saudi Arabia should be included. I do. I agree with you there, Joy. That's maybe one of the 1 points we can have agreement on. I think Saudi Arabia.
Can we celebrate right there? A little kumbaya.
To her point, though, I think part of the issue for me was that his rhetoric during the campaign, when you say stuff during a campaign like, you know, you want to ban all Muslims, or you use this broad terminology, then when you go to introduce policy, I happen to support this 2.0 as well, but when you institute policy that maybe doesn't do that, people look and say, well, what was the intent of this policy looking back? If you said X, Y, and Z over here, why are we not to believe that now this policy is intended to, in fact, ban Muslims, which you said? Is that not his biggest issue?
I think that it is. I mean, for Trump, rhetoric is usually the problem, and it's usually the basis of the problem, but I like to look to policy more than just talk. And when we're talking about campaign promises, wasn't it President Obama that said, if you like your health insurance, you can keep it? I mean, some things...
Well, one thing he said, and they keep bringing it up over and over again. But what about Trump says something crazy every day?
What about the fact that Giuliani, because I think it was a slip in the administration when Giuliani spoke out about that, but when he said... He came to me and said it was a Muslim ban. How do you remedy that?
Here's the deal. We have to be honest. I'm someone that's made a career on being very honest. To say that we don't have a problem with jihadists torn in countries that are, you know, Islamic faith dominates those countries. To say that that's not a problem would be to completely miss the real threat at hand. We have to name the enemy. That doesn't mean all Muslims are the enemy. When we look at these 6 countries, we can see they have a serious problem with terrorism. They have a serious problem with extremism, and it's Islamic extremism. We need to be honest. If we can't be honest, we're going to continue to chase our tails, and Americans aren't going to be safe, and Muslims are not going to be safe.
Let's talk a little bit, if we can move on, we have some investigations that are potentially going on right now, and I'm someone who supported investigations into Hillary's emails, into Benghazi, into the IRS targeting conservative groups. I'm sure you were on board with those as well. But now you have an investigation of the Trump campaign and his potential ties to Russia. I also think that that's a valid investigation, given that we know that his campaign had contact with Russian officials last year. That was at the same time that Russia, we know now, was in fact trying to interrupt our democratic process. Do you support this investigation as well into Trump's potential ties to Russia?
I support an investigation, but I support an investigation into wiretapping claims times as well. I think if you're going to investigate one, you need to investigate the other. I think that that's only fair. And I also think it's important to point out that President Obama's President Obama's CIA,
about Trump.
But I'm talking about President Obama's CIA director.
Yeah.
He came out and said, I see no ties, I see no collusion here. So when President Obama, who's a Hillary supporter...
No, Republican said that too.
Right. Well, when Obama's acting CIA director comes out and says, I see no evidence that there's ties
But there's no evidence of wiretapping either.
But right, so we should investigate both to the fullest.
Well,
you're saying
investigate. For me, the difference is that for wiretapping, there really is no evidence for what he's saying right now, in my opinion. But when it comes to the other issue of the ties to Russia, there was a lot of communication. You have several people in his campaign. I'm concerned, for me, I don't care who the president of the United States is at the time. I'm concerned about protecting the democratic process. So for me, there is a big distinction between those investigations. Because one is more founded than the other.
And that's where we can agree. I think both need to investigate.
But they cost money. Well, they cost money. So if you're going to investigate it, I want to know that I want some reason for the investigation. Otherwise, I don't want taxpayers on the line.
All right, let me ask you this question, because we're running out of time. We are a show about women, so we talk about women's issues a lot, and mostly female, although we have some lovely men here today. So I would like to ask you, woman to woman.
All right.
Is it difficult for you to support Trump as a leader when he treats women so poorly, the things that he said about women? Remember that horrible tape, the Access Hollywood tape? I won't even repeat it, it's so gross. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the things he said about Megyn Kelly and about Alicia Machado, all that stuff against women.
You know, if we go back to the campaign, which is when most of this took place, I looked at the things that now President Trump said, and I look at the things that Hillary Clinton did, and I had to weigh them. But I did. But now we're talking about now.
What did she say that was so horrendous towards men?
Actions.
Towards men.
You know, she stayed married to Bill Clinton. So is she giving him a pass then? But beyond that,
would not be seen as a sign of strength to pursue through the vow of marriage.
Tommy, don't you believe in love?
Of course I do, but I want to get to your question, because this whole Trump is anti-woman thing, I just don't buy it, because if he was so anti-woman, why did he select a female to run his campaign? If Kellyanne Conway had been a Democrat, you all at this table would have been applauding her, singing her praises. So if he doesn't like women, he's anti-woman. I don't think he would have selected a woman to
That's like
run
saying
his
all
campaign.
my best friends are Jewish and being an anti-Semite. It has nothing to do with
He trusts women.
No, I think there's something to say. You're putting your money where your mouth is. Putting your money where your mouth is.
So his rhetoric doesn't bother you. But let me ask you this. You call yourself a conservative Republican and a constitutional conservative, but you also consider yourself pro-choice, which is interesting to me, because 68% of conservative Republicans think that abortion should be illegal across the board.
No, I'm pro-choice, and here's why. I am a constitutional, someone that loves the Constitution. I am someone that's for limited government, and so I can't sit here and be a hypocrite and say I'm for limited government, but I think that the government should decide what women do with their bodies. I can sit here and say that as a Republican, and I can say, you know what, I'm for limited government, so stay out of my guns. And you can stay out of my body as well. So I think it's...
You need to go out and speak to women about that.
I do every day.
Speak to Republican women.
I do every day. And, I get a lot of attacks from conservative women as well.
Yeah.
I think it's equal hate from all sides for me.
You don't have any problems with
Tommy, I told you that we wouldn't bite. Everybody, give it up for Tomi Lahren. We don't bite. We're going to be right back.
Well, let's compare them. In the first, you have Vanity Fair making a joke about Hillary Clinton. In the second story, you have actual fake news that people are going to believe. So the two you cannot compare. But going back to that first thing, I am just so happy that the mainstream media, the leftist mainstream media, might I add, Vanity Fair, actually decided to make fun of Hillary Clinton. I give them some credit for that, because they're not really quick to do that, and they're going to take some heat for it. But I applaud them. Finally, they're coming to their senses, and they got a sense of humor.
All right, so I got to have a sense of humor about this, guys, and I'm about to bring back something that'll make my Uncle Chuck very happy. Knitting, right? It's supposedly sexist because according to Vanity Fair and the woman who suggests knitting in the video, it's sexist to suggest that to Hillary Clinton. Men do knit, and here's Rosie Greer to prove that.
You like working with your hands? Well, they're not going to work for you without training and help. Well, you can get that training and help right now at the Job Corps. Now, I'm not talking about needlepoint. I'm talking about training in over 100 different well-paying skills and trades. And don't worry about people laughing at you. Get your training at the Job Corps.
Rosie, you're so smart.
I know.
All right, so whether it's knitting or it's needlepoint or what, look, I don't know the difference, but guys do it too. The whole point is I'm mocking them a little bit here because the idea that it's sexist and you're triggered, Dan, just because you use the word is where the left goes. They put us in boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, David, a couple things. Number one, if you're going to put out a video like this and subject yourself to the far left social media mob and their outrage campaigns, make it funny. Like, I'm sorry, it really wasn't that funny. It was kind of stupid. But secondly, yeah, I do applaud them, though, for finally, you know, opening themselves up to humor on the other side. But remember, it was a joke, liberals. A joke. J-O-K-E. Or if Joe Biden was spelling it J-O-K-E-E. You get it? You see how we do that? It's a joke. Laugh a little bit. You know, do you have to be victims all the time? I get it. You can't leave your safe spaces and put your color forms down and your magic markers. But smile. Turn that frown upside down. Laugh a little bit. Not everything is Manichaean and is the end of the world. Gosh, these people are the worst.
All right, so Tomi, and you've taken a lot of heat in the media yourself as a conservative woman. You know, are they going to change their behavior, or is it really that far gone on the left that the so-called feminine defenders will not defend women first, but separate them by their political categories? And by the way, the First Lady, by all accounts, successful. She speaks 5 languages. She's accomplished. This is someone who should be a story.
Well, it's a very selective brand of feminism the left likes to use time and time again. Do I expect it to change? Absolutely not. But going back to the humor of the whole thing. Now, this is the left. This is a group of people, Kathy Griffin included, who thought it would be funny, thought it would be a joke to decapitate President Trump and pose for art. But now if we make fun of Hillary Clinton going in the woods or going to Whole Foods suddenly, that's below the belt, I'm sorry. I don't quite see it the way they do. I don't expect them to change, but I love triggering them because I just get really a kick out of it.
Well, we've definitely created several microaggressions right here for many on the left. I'm okay with that. All right, guys, let's look a little bit ahead to 2018. You know, the strategy seems to be, as Obama did, as liberals do, put everybody in boxes, tell them this is your interest. Dan, first to you. Is this successful strategy for them?
You know, it was in the past, David, when the Walter Cronkite, you know, Tom Brokaw era, when they had a monopoly over media. But the problem with the strategy, that in essence is this: don't vote for us. Vote against the Republicans because they hate you. That's the Democrats' motto and has always been their motto. The problem with that is as the monopoly starts to break down and information is disseminated through this channel that focuses on more fair and balanced stuff, you have, you know, Breitbart, Conservative Review, the Daily Caller. People are getting their information from different sources. So the short answer is no, it's not going to work in the future. Their information monopoly is breaking down and breaking down fast.
So, Tomi, to take that and go further, do the Democrats have another strategy in place going into 2018 and looking at the midterms?
They don't. They absolutely do not. Let's think about what they've done in 2017. They've protested. They've resisted. They voted against a tax break for 80% of Americans. Let's see. They voted to pardon illegal immigrants in California, or their leaders have decided to make those decisions. So they really have no platform. They have no agenda. All they want to do is resist. It's going to be really hard to win an election in 2018 or 2020 when the only thing that you have, the only thing you're promoting is identity politics and resistance. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is winning for all Americans. I'm really excited to see how these next elections are going to come out.
Dan, Tomi, great to see you, and we'll do this again soon. Thanks.
I want you to remind yourselves of 3 very important things. Number 1, you live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Number 2, Donald J. Trump is your president. And I see your Trump shirt, sir. In the Trump shirt, I see you. That was a good choice today. So let's go through those again. Number 1, we live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Number 2, Donald J. Trump is our president. And number 3, guys, this one is very important, so I want to hear you scream for this one. Hillary Rodham, email deleting, Benghazi lying, sham foundation, crooked Clinton is not.
That is one woman that is not my president, and she's not yours either, no matter how much they like to tell you otherwise.